Hey everybody, welcome to this module, which is called Getting Started with Intermittent Fasting. This is a guide for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, or business owners, but I'm going to tell you, even if you're not a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, you're probably going to get something out of this. So stick around and see what happens. So why did I make this guide for solopreneurs and entrepreneurs? Because that's who I work with. It's right here, right at that link right there. I run a collaborative mastermind where I bring successful entrepreneurs and solopreneurs together to help everyone move forward faster. And I have been intermittent fasting for years, had tremendous health benefits from it, including a ton of weight loss, like almost 100 pounds of weight loss. But I do intermittent fasting for a different reason. And it always comes up in the conversations in the mastermind, because in the mastermind, we meet every single week and we work to move each other forward faster. So if you're an entrepreneur or you're a solopreneur and you kind of feel alone out there and you know you have more potential than you're leveraging, hop on to collab.priority.me and you can explore what it would be like to be in there. But we're here today to talk about getting started with intermittent fasting. I made a video about intermittent fasting last week, and it turned out to be an incredibly popular video, and I got a lot of private direct messages from people saying, help me. So I do want to start this with an asterisk because my lawyer wants me to do so and tell you, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist. I only know what I've been researching and what's worked for me. Your results might not be the same as mine. In fact, that's why I started intermittent fasting, because I hired all of these internet health coaches to try to lose some weight, and they all gave me advice where I gained weight. And that wasn't what I wanted, so I did the research myself, and I looked at people like Dr. Jim Stepani, and I looked at his advice on intermittent fasting and a bunch of other people as well that I can reference in future videos. And that's where I found the real answers for me. So it might not work for you. And I will tell you this, it's not easy. It's hard. And if you don't like to do hard things, well, this video isn't for you. You should go find the easy things to do. Like, I don't know what those easy things are, but you'll have to figure out what those are because I only do the hard things. So let's get to this. And specifically, I'm going to talk about the benefits for you if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur. But intermittent fasting, just by definition, is cycled eating, where you have eating windows and you have windows where you don't eat. That's called your fasting window. During your eating window, pretty obvious, you get to eat. During your fasting window, which is a period of time, you don't eat. And the only thing that you're allowed during your fasting window is black coffee, which I've got here in my awesome cup. And I also drink water. And this happens to be the water that I love to drink. So this is the water that I drink, and this is the coffee that I drink. And truly, you can't put anything in it. So don't trick yourself. Don't shove a bunch of butter in there. That's not going to work. Don't put no calorie sweeteners in there. That's not going to work. That's only going to undo your progress. Don't trick yourself. Don't even think a splash of milk while you're fasting in your coffee is going to be okay, because it's not. And it's really simple. And that's what makes intermittent fasting so powerful, is it is very simple. You're either eating or you're not. And when you're not eating, you got to stay hydrated. So water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea, that'll probably work too. But those are my two go-tos, and I'm happy to share with you the coffee I drink as well, because I'm a big fan of coffee, especially black coffee. So that's what intermittent fasting is, and it's become very popular with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs lately for a lot of different reasons. The health benefits are amazing. That's what we're going to be talking about today, especially the benefits for the brain. So I want to help you understand what intermittent fasting is and how you can step yourself into it. I do a very, I guess it's not very extreme anymore, but for some people, my intermittent fasting might seem extreme. My fasting window is 23 and a half hours. And then my eating window is a half an hour. So I get all of my daily nutrition in about 30 minutes. It's not a feeding frenzy or anything like that. I'm very mindful as I do it. but that might seem extreme. So I want to help you step into this. So there are two kinds of intermittent fasting that I want to share with you. One is the 16-8 and the other is the 5-2 method. With the 16-8 method, your fasting window is 16 hours. So 16 hours, water or black coffee, and then you can eat for 8 hours. With the 5-2 method, that's broken down into days. You're going to eat regular for 5 days, and then for 2 of those days, for 2 of the days of the week, you're going to restrict your calories. How much should you restrict your calories? I have no idea. I don't know how much you eat on a normal basis. What would I do? On my regular days, I'd eat maybe 1,500 calories because I don't need a lot of calories. And on my 2 days where I'm fasting, I'd do like 500 or 600. Go ahead and blast me in the comments and say starvation mode, which is a myth and doesn't really exist in this context, but you can go ahead and put that in the comments anyways. I'm just going to reply to you with a smiley face because I want to smile at you for believing in that. So 16-8 or 5-2 is really where you can easily get started. And if fasting for 16 hours seems like too much for you, then start with 12-12. There aren't any really hard rules for what your hours should be like once we get beyond 12 or 14 hours. So if you could stop eating at say 6 p.m. and not eat until 6 a.m. or stop eating at 7 p.m. and not eat until 7 a.m., and you could do that for a week or two, you're going to be in really good shape. And then you can start to build up to the 16 hours. We find through studies that 16 hours tends to be the magical number. I happen to like fasting for 23 and a half hours because my brain works better in a fasted state. So it is, as I'm recording this, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. I haven't eaten since 6 o'clock last night. I'm not going to eat till 5:30 tonight. I'm a little bit hungry. I can feel it in my stomach, but my brain is on fire. My brain just works faster. I can learn better. I'm learning 2 different languages at the same time while I'm doing my job working with my mastermind. By the way, that's right here. If you are a solopreneur and an entrepreneur, and you kind of like the things that you hear from me, you're going to love what you find in the collaborative mastermind. So just go here, there. I'm going to point at it right there. Just go to that link. I can actually see it on the screen as I'm recording this. Go to that link and you can check out my collaborative mastermind. No obligation there. I only want you in there if you want to be in there. So we've talked about what intermittent fasting is. We talked about different ways to do it. And now I have to tell you again, you got to talk to some sort of a professional. I am not the one to listen to. You're here listening to me, but I'm telling you my experience. I'm telling you how I did this. I don't want people coming to me and saying, hey, I stopped eating and my car exploded for some reason, and you're trying to blame me on that and your TV not working. You got to go talk to a professional and get someone's permission to do it. Your doctor's going to tell you not to do it, then you got to go off and do your own research and make a decision because you're an adult and we're doing adult things. So as an adult, you get to research and make decisions. So everybody talks about the weight loss benefits of intermittent fasting. And I'm happy to talk to you about that all day long. Lost almost 100 pounds, probably like 95 pounds. And I've been able to maintain that loss for a long period of time, years. And it feels like a cheat code because it's been so effortless now that I'm into the routine, which I'll talk about in a whole nother video because my 23 and a half hours is just like scratching the surface of what I do. But I want to talk to you about the brain benefits of intermittent fasting. And those benefits are profound, especially if you're a solopreneur or you're a business owner. Listen, you got to be able to think and make decisions. And you have to think all the time. This isn't go sit in a cube and coast for half the day. Like, we're working here. We're trying to build businesses. In fact, in my mastermind, we're trying to do 3 things. We're trying to increase profit. You got to be able to think clearly to do that. We want to have greater impact on those we serve and those in our communities and in our society. Well, you got to be able to think to be able to do that. And we want to have fun at the same time. Those are the 3 pillars of my collaborative mastermind. So you've got to be able to think and think clearly and think quickly to do that. So with intermittent fasting, you can have increased focus and a whole lot more mental clarity. It just happens. It might not happen the first day for you. In fact, I remember when I first started and I was doing 16-8, which meant my eating window opened right around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I remember like watching the clock going, I can eat in 15 minutes. I can eat in 15 minutes. And going out into the kitchen and grabbing a bite and how great everything tasted. But that was a big distraction for me. That's why I went to the 23 hours, so I can get through my whole workday without having to think about food. So your increased focus and clarity it's an unbelievable effect, but it doesn't happen right away. You've got to give it a week or maybe 2 weeks before you start to see that. You are also more creative when you're able to intermittent fast. You just find creativity flows from everywhere and you see things that you just don't normally see. I don't know why. I think maybe because when you're digesting food, it just takes a lot of energy from your body and you just can't see the things that you need to see. You're also much less stressed or you can manage your stress better when you're fasting. I found that happened after about a month of doing it. My stress level went way down. I have a bio indicator. That's a whole nother video. I have a bio indicator for when I'm stressed. It's real simple. When I'm stressed, my body odor changes. I have a body odor. When I'm not stressed, I don't. That's more information than you needed right now. I'll save that for another video. I haven't worn deodorant in years, maybe a decade, because my stress is so under control. Your memory gets better. There's lots and lots of studies. Just go hit Google and write intermittent fasting and memory. Lots of studies that talk about how your memory improves when you intermittent fast and your mental energy lasts longer. The people in my mastermind, that's this thing right here, collab.proudy.me. The people who are in there, I ask them to focus for long periods of time on one task to get it done. That's one of the keys to entrepreneurial success, is to be able to put your head down and focus for long periods of time. It's what separates us from everyone else. People who can't focus for more than 30 seconds or a minute, they're going to struggle to get high levels of success. Sorry if that's offensive, but it's true. If you want success, you've got to be able to focus for long periods of time. Intermittent fasting is going to help you do that. So I talked about the types of intermittent fasting a little while ago, and just a quick recap on those. 16 hours is your fasting window. Black coffee, that's this right here, or water, I got that right here. And the 5-2 method, so there's an example. If you finish eating dinner by 8 p.m., you don't eat again until 12 the next day. Ease yourself into that. You can ease yourself into that. Go with 12-12, then try to go with 14-10, try to extend it to 14 hours, and then 16 will be a breeze. Or you can do the 5-2 method. That means you eat normally for 5 days of the week, and then you restrict calories on the other 2 days. So I don't know what your caloric intake is. This is a recording. I'm not sitting there with you. But what I'll tell you is try to cut your calories in half for 2 days and see what happens. Just see how you feel. So eat regularly Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday, you could reduce your calories. Now that might be hard for some people because they like to party and go out on Saturdays and Sundays. So make it Monday and Tuesday. It's easy. Just choose the 2 days. So here are some of the benefits from fasting. So your brain health, right? We talked about the clarity and the focus, so very important, but also the increased level of discipline. I said this before, you've got to be able to focus for long periods of time if you're going to be successful in your business. So I'm talking to you solopreneurs, you entrepreneurs, you people who have started a business, you've maybe had some success, but you know there's so much more out there. It's your discipline that you need to bolster to be able to find that success. Intermittent fasting teaches you a high level of discipline. You have to be very disciplined to not eat for 16 hours, or in my case, 23 and a half hours. I have 4 little kids. There is food everywhere in this house. And the moment I walk through the house, there's food everywhere. Sometimes when I'm at like hour 20 in my fast, there's an apple core sitting on the floor that's probably been there for 2 days. I would literally pick it up and eat it. That's how hungry I am at that point, but I don't. It's because I have the discipline to get through it. Plus, it would be kind of weird eating an apple core that's been on the floor. Your energy is going to, so here we've got the long-term brain health. There's lots of research that suggests that intermittent fasting is going to help your brain over time, especially as you age. So you entrepreneurs, solopreneurs who might be, aging a little bit, let's get your brains working like you're 20 years old again. We can do that through intermittent fasting. The studies are out there. Go Google it. If you don't feel like Googling it and you want to say, show me the research, go ahead. I'll Google it for you. I'll give you the links. Your energy goes through the roof. So this is the most common thing that I hear. But you're not eating. How do you have energy to do anything? You'll find after a short period of time of consistent intermittent fasting, your energy goes through the roof. It's the most amazing thing. There's a biological reason why that would take longer than we have in this video for me to explain. I will in another video, I promise you that. But there's a biological reason why your energy goes through the roof. And again, I'm going to share my results with you. I get up in the morning, I run 6 miles. And then before the end of my fasting window, so at hour 23, I run another 3 miles, 6 days a week. So I run constantly, and I'm running at the end of my window. And people are like, how do you have energy to work out? How do you have energy to do anything? You have more energy when you're fasting than you do when you're eating. You'll find that. So it does take some time. Your body's got to figure out what's going on. But my energy level is through the roof. And I often tell people I have limitless explosive energy when I'm fasting. So I will tell you, you'll find it. You've just got to have the discipline to get there, right? So, and then your body gets very stabilized. I will tell you from a personal standpoint, on Sundays, I tend to not fast. And so on Sundays, I will eat a little bit more and I won't do a 23.5-hour fast. I'm doing this for a different reason. I'm doing this because I like to calorie cycle. That's a whole different video, but I like to calorie cycle where I have a lot of calories on Sunday because I don't have that many during the week. I do find that on Mondays, the stabilization of my system is way off. It takes about 24 hours for my system to restabilize. However, I need the calories, so I get them all on Sundays. So here are my tips for you. My first tip is, if you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur, have you gone and checked this thing out yet? Check out collab.proudy.me. I would love for you to explore what it's like to be in a collaborative mastermind with a bunch of other entrepreneurs and solopreneurs where not everybody in there is fasting, but a lot of them are. And there's one dude in there who started fasting, lost 15 pounds his first month, can't think about eating any other way now. We have a woman in there. She's amazing. She's intermittent fasting as well. So we talk about this in some of our casual conversations. But not everybody in there fasts, so you don't have to worry about that. But collab.proudy.me, you can explore what it's like to increase the profits in your business, have more impact on those you serve, and have a ton of fun hanging out with some really cool people in this thing while you do it. So head over there and you can check that out. So here are my tips. Number 1, go and consult a doctor, because I'm not. And I'm nothing. You shouldn't listen to me about this at all. I'm going to tell you that right now. You got to go do your own research. Why? Because you're an adult, and that's what adults do. We take responsibility for ourselves. Then start slow. If you are struggling with thinking about 16 hours of fasting, I know I did when I first started, start with 12. What we say, dinner and done. And then you don't eat until the next morning. Do 12-hour fasts, so no snacking after dinner. And you do that for about a week or 2, and then increase it by a couple of hours. Soon, 16 hours will feel effortless for you. Then you can join us in the 23-hour, 23.5-hour, 1 meal a day. But that's another video. Gradually increase over time. Then during your eating window, here's where you got to be careful. Once your eating window opens, the tendency is to want to just eat everything, anything and everything. However, probably not the best idea. So ease yourself into your eating window. Sometimes a cup of tea with maybe a splash of milk in it is a good thing to do. I tend to not eat sugar during the week. I will eat something with sugar in it on Sundays. But during the week, I'll ease into my eating window with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and a splash of milk or a splash of cream in it. That will start to get the calories in, and then I'll just start to move to some lean proteins and green veg. Tends to be what I eat on a regular basis while I'm doing this. So I don't go crazy and line up the hot dogs. I don't even know what that means. But that's what I would recommend, is just ease yourself into it. Control the portion sizes and ease yourself into eating. You will find after doing this, you just can't eat as much anymore. Maybe your stomach shrinks. I don't know. I'm not inside you. Weird. So whatever it is, just ease into it and control your portions. Eat till you feel almost full, but not full, and then take a break. And then eat a little more later. You can get your 3 meals in over 8 hours, or maybe two meals in over 8 hours. just don't go crazy, okay? I promise you. It's going to feel really good when you start doing it. If you have questions, you can drop them down in the comments, of course. And if you are an entrepreneur, solopreneur, you're a business owner, or an expert, and this is important, you've got to already have an established business. We don't bring people in here who are just coming up with ideas. It doesn't work. But if you have an established business, you'll have a great time in this thing. So head over to collab.priority.me. Check it out. And if we have open seats, I would love to invite you to have a conversation to see if it's right for you. And I'd love to invite you in as well if it is. Okay, I'll make another one of these and answer more questions that you send to me through direct messenger or post in the comments. And that wraps up this module for today.